I wish I could make reaction videos, but I was born in 1956. I've heard all these songs. What could I possibly react to?
I was worth it, found my purpose, rarely abyss to the surface, the reward of constantly working.
Hey whippersnappers, Brian here out of Boomer Reacts. Welcome back. If this is your first time here, thanks for checking me out. I listen to rap and hip hop songs using lyric videos, and then I'll let you know what I thought about them. First of all, I want to say thank you for all of your well wishes. It really meant a lot to me to hear all the lovely comments you guys left. So thank you for that. As you can see, I'm going to be reacting to Lowkey doing Terrorist and Terrorist Part 2. I say it like that because there's a question mark after it, but as I'm reading this, I'm probably going to forget to put a question mark after it. So if you hear me say terrorist instead of terrorist, then you'll know. I have not reacted to Lowkey before, so I'm going to read a little bio and we'll get into the reaction. Lowkey was born Kareem Dennis in London in 1986 to an Iraqi mother and an English father. He began to rap when he was 12, initially imitating American rappers, but soon started using his own accent. He began attending open mic sessions, and the first time he went, he introduced himself as Lowkey and was told there was already a regular there by that name. The two had a rap battle to decide who would continue to use the alias. Lowkey emerged victorious and continued to use the name thereafter. He first became known through a series of mixtapes called Key to the Game Volumes 1, 2, and 3 that he released independently. It was at an open mic that Lowkey met Doc Brown, who invited Lowkey to feature on his song Donnie's Lament from Doc's album Citizen Smith Volume 1. Lowkey was also a member of the hip-hop collective called Poisonous Poets, founded by Doc Brown, which released a mixtape called Poisonous Poetry in 2005. He took a hiatus from the music business to explore other aspects of his career, but would return 4 years later with appearances on BBC Radio and at various festivals and concerts, as well as collaborating with other British musicians to form the supergroup Mongrel. Mongrel released their first album, Better Than Heavy, in 2009. According to Andy Nicholson, bassist for Arctic Monkeys and founder of Mongrel, Better Than Heavy was a side project and a one-off. I wonder what, I'm going to have to listen to some Mongrel, because Arctic Monkeys is, like indie rock. So I'll have to see how they, merge hip-hop or rap into it. While touring Europe in support of Immortal Technique, Cannabis, and Dead Prez, Lowkey established musical connections and began recording his debut album. Though delayed by other artistic pursuits, his album Dear Listener was eventually released in January 2009. In support of the album, music videos were made for the songs Alphabet Assassin, Revolution, Relatives, and In My Lifetime. After touring with Immortal Technique, the two made a single, Voices of the Voiceless, in 2009, which would appear on Lowkey's sophomore album, Soundtrack to the Struggle, released in 2011. From 2009 to 2010, 3 other singles were released before the album. Long Live Palestine, aka Tears to Laughter, Something Wonderful, and Abomination. Terrorist is produced by Red Skull and features My Khalil. When people have been asking for Lowkey, it was either Abomination or Terrorist. And someone said you should do Abomination and Terrorist on the same video because, they're like a continued story. I don't know about that. Do Abomination and then Terrorist because it's a consecutive story, but Abomination comes later on the album than Terrorist. So I wasn't sure how that works. So I'm playing it safe, and I'm going to do Terrorist and Terrorist Part 2. But we're going to do Terrorist right now. This lyric video includes Part 1 and Part 2. So I hope I'll know when to stop Terrorist before we get to Part 2. Okay. Terrorist.
So, we must ask ourselves, what is the dictionary definition of terrorism? The systematic use of terror, especially as a means of coercion. But what is terror? According to the dictionary I hold in my hand, terror is violent or destructive acts, such as bombing, committed by groups in order to intimidate a population or government into granting their demands. So what's a terrorist?
They're calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is. When they put it on me, I tell them this: I'm all about peace and love. They're calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is. Insulting my intelligence. Oh, how these people judge.
It seems like the ragheads and packies are worrying your dad, but your dad's favorite food is curry and kebab. It's funny but it's sad how they make your mummy hurry with her bags, rather read the Sun and study all the facts. Tell me, what's the bigger threat to human society? BAE systems or homemade IEDs, remote control drones killing off human lives, or man with homemade bomb committing suicide? I know you were terrified when you saw the towers fall. It's all terror, but some forms are more powerful. It seems nuts. How could there be such agony when more Israelis die from peanut allergies? It's like the definition didn't ever exist. I guess it's all just dependent who your nemesis is. Irrelevant how eloquent the rhetoric peddler is. They're telling fibs. Now tell us who the terrorist
They're
is.
calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is. When they put it on me, I tell them this: I'm all about peace and love. They're calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is. Insulting my intelligence. Oh, how these people judge.
Lumumba was democracy, Mossadegh was democracy, and they was democracy. Hypocrisy, it bothers me. Call you terrorists if you don't wanna be a colony. Refuse to bow down to a policy of robbery. Is terrorism my lyrics? When more Vietnam vets killed themselves after the war than died in it. This is very basic. One nation in the world has over 1,000 military bases. They say it's religion when clearly it isn't. It's not just Muslims that oppose your imperialism. Is Hugo Chavez a Muslim? Nah, I didn't think so. Is Castro a Muslim? Nah, I didn't think so. It's like the definition didn't ever exist. I guess it's all just dependent who your nemesis is. Irrelevant how eloquent the rhetoric peddler is. They're telling fibs. Now tell us who the terrorist is.
They're calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is. When they put it on me, I tell them this: I'm all about peace and love. They're calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is. Insulting my intelligence. Oh, how these people judge. You think that I don't know, but I know. You think that we don't know, but we know.
Was building 7 terrorism, was nanothermite terrorism. Diego Garcia was terrorism. I am conscious, the conscious were terrorism. Phosphorus that burns hands, that is terrorism. Erdogan and Stern gang, that was terrorism. What they did in Hiroshima was terrorism. What they did in Fallujah was terrorism. Mandela, ANC, they call terrorism. Jerry Adams, IRA, they call terrorism. Eric Prince, Blackwater was terrorism. Oklahoma, McVeigh, that was terrorism. Everyday USA, that is terrorism. Everyday UK, that is terrorism.
Um, um, I really liked it. It had a fun groove, even though the lyrics were, you know, hard to hear. Um, um, you know, us Americans are taught in school, are not taught in school, you know, the bad stuff, you know, slaughter of the indigenous tribes, you know, slavery, all that bad stuff. I was never taught that in school. Maybe, you know, they talked about the Civil War, but I never heard that, you know, one of the big things, because the Civil War was caused by slavery. I didn't know that. So we have a whole generation of people growing up and really not knowing what their country has done and is doing. I wonder what Lowkey feels about what's happening now. You know, October 7th, you know, when Hamas attacked Israel, and then Israel like leveling the Gaza Strip. And then, you know, a lot of Middle Eastern Americans, you know, voted against Kamala because of, you know, Biden's policy of, you know, giving money to Israel. I wonder how he feels now that Trump has been elected and he's, you know, talking about moving everybody out of the Gaza Strip and turning it into, you know, like some beach paradise, I'm sure, with his buildings, right? He's got a great flow. It was you know, conversational. It was low key. It was conversational without being you know, without knocking us on the head with a hammer. It's like, you know, he wasn't accusing. He was just saying we're all part of this shithole. Yeah, really good song. I'm going to put it in my car just because it's a fun beat. You know, the lyrics are hard to hear because they are true. But I'll put it in my car regardless of the lyrics. And boy, did my Khalil add a whole lot to this song. I really enjoyed her participation. Okay, I'm going to close down here. We're going to get into Terrorist Part 2. You could hear a little beginning of it because I didn't know quite when Terrorist was going to end. But, you know, I'll cue it back up to the beginning of Terrorist Part 2. Well, thanks for hanging with me, guys. I'll be with you in 1 second. You won't even know I'm gone. Okay, I'm back. You didn't even know I was gone, right? So now we're going to do Terrorist Part 2, and it's produced by Last Resort and features Crazy Haze and My Khalil again, which I'll probably enjoy. Okay. Part 2.
Terrorist, we know who the terror is. Tell them that I'm not. They're calling me a terrorist. It is time we settle this. Tell them that I'm not.
allow my client Kareem Dennison simplify his messages and dissect the evidence that placed him on the terror list. Spread the lies of television. My client is standing accused of encouraging terrorism. He's promoting peace far from violent encouragement. I believe it's unjust that this court has summoned him. How can one man rapping lead to terrorist actions? This misunderstanding merits a retraction. Accused of calling for attacks on military facilities. You can't equate violence with criticism politically. Where's the freedom of speech? It's just another young musician who is seeking a dream. My client is accused of inciting racial tension. He's half Arab, half English that I failed to mention. The media rendered, his reputation ruined. Think about how many youngsters he has influenced to quit a life of crime and do the opposite. Most of the man's tracks are completely devoid of politics. The evidence is unseen, the verdict is a done deal. How can you compare a song to invading a country? My client isn't hungry for the blood of the people. Since when is making a rap song ever been illegal? No murder is done, the thing that drives this person is love. I rest my case to the jury and the merciful judge.
They're calling me a terrorist, we know who the terror is. Tell them that I'm not. They're calling me a terrorist, it is time to settle this. Tell them that I'm not. I'm all about love and peace, why you wanna trouble me? Tell them that I'm not. My intentions are clear to see.
Sir, can you confirm you're the artist that's known as Lowkey? Are you aware the state has been building this case is so free? You claim that you're all about love and you promote peace. I'm here to prove that your hot speeches lead to cold deeds. Your lyrics are a virus infecting all the youths. You say whatever it takes to get a mention on the news. You're an insult to the people and offend the soldiers too. Objection, your honor.
Objection overruled.
Do you denounce the monarchy and hope for a republic?
Monarchy is inequality, systemic injustice. While you strangle Afghanistan and tangle with Taliban, our taxes have to pay for David Cameron's cameraman.
How can you compare spreading anarchy to spreading democracy?
Like you compare resistance to extension of colonies.
Did you really refer to the US as an abomination?
No, I posed the question in reference to its domination. I scrutinize governments, you scrutinize songs.
Did you compare Predator Jones to suicide bombs?
Yes, and I question where such brutalized youth would rise from. It's true, I choose to write songs, but you can right wrongs.
But what if your questions equate to the spreading of hate? Is it true you labeled Israel a terrorist state?
Yes, cause it's based on the threat to erase an indigenous population you could never replace.
They're calling me a terrorist, we know who the terror is. Tell them that I'm not. They're calling me a terrorist, it is time we settle this. Tell them that I'm not. I'm all about love and peace, why you wanna trouble me? Tell them that I'm not. My intentions are clear to see.
Please allow me to state the most relevant of facts. I'm charged with section 1 of 06's Terrorism Act. It is alleged the music I'm publishing for exhibition all amounts to the encouragement of terrorism. My face was placed upon the news as a wanted person, cause it caused controversy when they saw my songs emerging. If I was commercial, would I have to ride all these hurdles? Raided my home, take my phone, put some spies in my circle. Not on it, no comment. I will never change my position, not in jail, but they gave me these stale bail conditions. And this is the part where the plot just gets sinister. They banned me from the city of London and Westminster. I do this for the rebels that do this without the medals. For Smiley Culture, Jodie McIntyre and Alfie Meadows. Before you throw it at me, have a look at your backwards book definition of terrorism. Columbus and Captain Cook, I can't lie, it's getting deep. Our lives are very cheap and one person dies in police custody every week. They're editing my tracks cause I'm telling them the facts. You're more likely to die like that than from a terrorist attack. When you try to fight the war, they will say you defy the law. Can't quiet me, this is R.I.P. for Brian Hall. We know the truth no matter what you tell them on the television. IMF, World Bank, economic terrorism. I refuse to produce chart nonsense, not a servant to the Zionist lobby like Mark Thompson. The BBC want me making music to impress crooks or doing shows on military bases like Tim Westwood. Murdoch might have the news, but me, I have the tunes. Your cameras move onto celebrities to distract the youth. Remember, this fact is true. When you point your finger at me, there is 3 fingers pointing back at you.
I'm pleading for
Part two was excellent as well. I like the structure of the song. I'm assuming that Crazy Hayes was like Lowkey's lawyer and, you know, laying out these facts. And then verse two, they did a little back and forth, and the last key was the last verse was Lowkey. I didn't know a lot of the you know, British, I'm assuming, politicians that were mentioned in here. The chorus was especially good for me. I liked all the guilties, and certain parts of the song, some kind of chant would come in. You know, I'm all about chants. Both Crazy Hayes and Lowkey did a great job with their flow and rhymes. It's also a beat that makes the content of the lyrics more palatable, at least to me. You know, it's a head bopper, but you know, it's telling you some uncomfortable truths at the same time. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. So my next Lowkey should be Abomination and Abomination Part 2. Let me know. Well, thanks for hanging with you guys. If you like this kind of content, give me a like and a subscribe. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.